Where's it from?
Ames Performance. They got goodies. You know that you've been slacking on your project car when you have a box of brand new parts and you don't know where it's from or what's in it. I know what's in it. We're getting down to the final detail. That looks like a square box of some kind. Oh, the air conditioning condenser. We're going to test fit that before we put the radiator in. What you want to do is put a bunch of stuff in so that you can get the car running and then have to take it all back apart to put in this stuff. Or you want to avoid that. Which one was it? I always forget. I think I do that on purpose.
Just to avoid coming in the house and hanging out with your wife.
That way I can do everything twice. You got to get good at it, right? Practice makes perfect. I think I'm going to get a knife. My sandwich clamps aren't quite cutting it. All right. Got my razor. For safety, you always want to use these blades without the knife. That way, no matter which way you're going, you're cutting towards yourself.
Hey, maybe you should think about buying some razor knives, like with the handle.
It would be cool if I had like 2 of them in a package somewhere.
2 packages of 2 of them in a package.
That's what I need. If I just had those, I wouldn't be doing this.
If you had those in the house, sitting on the table next to the couch where you sit.
Right now, yes. But like everybody knows, if it's not here when I need it, it might as well be on Mars. Look at that. There's already paint missing off of it. Ames Performance. They're a great place. The Pontiac people. Paint chip
That's actually
there.
now auto.
And I'm not going to say that this is Ames' fault because this has been floating around in my garage for a half a year in the box. And as I'm sure we will all find out as we get more and more videos posted, I am very careful not to damage anything. Perfect. Let's see if it fits.
Gentle with the paint.
The paint's just going to have to suck it up.
He says that now, but I'm going to have to listen to him cry about it later.
Yeah. Oh, well, the first complication would be that I'm the one doing it. That goes right there. That looks like it's going to work. That looks like a fit. A match made in heaven. Oh my God! I'm going to set that here, get a couple bolts started and see what it looks like. It looks like this hard line might be hitting the core support a little bit. And you can see I did not just do all that. That was like that when we opened the package.
Sure it was.
That looks like garbage. I don't like that because that is right at the top where when you open the hood, everybody's going to see it. I think we can force those in there. So here's a tip for anybody restoring these old American muscle cars. I looked forever for bolts. And you can go on Ames and OPGI and Year One, and you could find kits of bolts, fastening kits for the engine, for the front fenders. I think they make them for just about anything, the interior. But there's always bolts, parts missing, always. And it's very hard to find these black anodized bolts that GM used from the factory. extensive searching, looking online, and you have to know stuff like the thread pitch and the length and the too many mathematical equations, and they're just impossible to find. I lucked out, and I'm going to share my experience with everybody so that you don't go through the same stuff I did. If you go and you have a Fastenal anywhere around you, you can go there and ask them just to look through their factory GM hardware section, and they have all of these black anodized original GM bolts, from fender bolts and washers to these little hardware sheet metal bolts that they attached everything with. And I think every one I found, I bought like 100 bolts, and it was maybe $10. And that is just a great deal. Made me happy. That's a tip. These also will work, of course, for Ford and Dodge and all that. Just if you're looking for these black anodized bolts and you don't want to go through the process of making them yourself, which I've done a lot, and they can look great, but honestly, they don't last very long. You got to oil them sometimes if you use certain types of coatings. People have told me to heat them up and blacken them and then put oil on them, and I don't like that. But these are good. They'll last a long time. They're relatively cheap, and they're actually GM products. Fastenal carries them. The guy that worked at Fastenal didn't even know they carried them. I just asked him to look through all of his hardware, and I found boxes and boxes and boxes. So, pro tip. Let's get this thing bolted in. I'm going to be using my handy dandy Milwaukee zapper wrench. I love this thing. I use it on everything. It's a 1/4 inch. I put 4,000 or 5,000 gorillas on it sometimes. Took the brake bolts loose, and I haven't broke it yet. So if you can put up with me, it's pretty tough. I'm not sponsored by Milwaukee, but it's a great little tool. We're getting somewhere. Undoify that. Yeah, that's what I was scared of. This is a factory replacement part, and it is hard against the core support right there. Actually, it looks like it's already got this bent down a little. Perfect. The right-handed sandwich clamp, and just a little bit of, like 4 or 5 donkey powers. Perfect. This has been a 5-year restoration, and 2.5 years of that have been me looking for stuff that I've lost. And that will never change. So these are the replacement rubber isolators for the radiator. These are the originals. They don't look the same. I'm sure they're fine. They're going to be just fine. All right. So 1966 and 67 Pontiac GTO. I think the Le Mans and the Tempest as well. One way you can tell, if you really look into it, if it's an original air-conditioned vehicle, is this core support down here. The cup is facing upward. So what Pontiac did when they put air conditioning in these cars is they said, hey, it needs a bigger radiator. So how are we going to put a radiator in it that's bigger? Well, they left it the same width. They took this bottom piece on a non-air conditioning car. It was turned with the cup side down, and the radiator was 15 something inches high, I think. And they said, well, when we put air conditioning in it, we need a bigger radiator. So they just turned it over. So the cup side was facing up, put a bigger radiator in it. So the whole front core support is actually different on an original air conditioned car. and impossible to find. I know, I tried. And then I just broke out the welder and fixed this one. And once you paint it, nobody will ever know. That one don't look like it fit as good. That one looks good. This one don't look good. I think once we smash the radiator in there, nobody will ever know the difference. You have to be real careful when you work with this stuff. You don't want to damage anything. Just push on that as hard as you can. That don't look right. Oh yeah, trial and error. Deal. This is the cold case radiator. Like I said earlier, when you're buying for these 66 cars, you got to make sure you're getting the right height, because there was a difference from air-conditioned to non-air-conditioned cars. And the other thing that I found out, since this is the second radiator that we've bought for this car, is that you want to look at your brackets. These attached in, I don't know, there's one of them that's got a whole shield that covers the whole half or 3/4 of the top of the radiator. And there's one all in the same year, just had this. And you want to check your brackets when you order a new radiator, because the first radiator I found was an OEM replacement radiator, and it was almost an inch smaller than my brackets. Had to send it back and order another one. So just check. They usually always tell you the width of the tank, and you want to make sure that the tank width matches your brackets. Now that fits really good. It's nice and tight. The one we had in here before, there was a big gap right here. It looked really just didn't look right at all. So it had to go. Find some bolt supply. Let's go ahead and scratch the paint up real good, huh? And like I always say, just put stuff together. Put the parts on that you want to put on first. And then later, when I got to do all of the baffling that directs the air into the radiator for the air conditioning car, probably have to take all this stuff back out. But that's okay. That's another day. It don't matter. So having the radiator in actually kind of hides this junk right here a little bit. And the fit is pretty good. I mean, it's not touching the core support, it's not touching the radiator. We went super fancy with the radiator hoses. Look at this. This is nothing like my regular straight radiator hose that I twist into 15 different positions, maybe put a splice in it to make it fit the vehicle. This one is actually made for the car. So this is high class styling. I gotta get in here and trim this gasket off. I don't like that. Look at this. Looks like poopy. Can't have this work of art. Like that. What looks wrong with that picture?
It looks too long.
That is just unacceptable. I wonder. I'm gonna put a little dielectric grease on that so that I don't have to destroy things and take it off every time. You always got to put this grease in for like 10 minutes. But that's why it just feels right. Man, what if I went this way more? I think that would make it better. Cut some of this off over here. It's supposed to look just like that. And that don't look like that. That is Gates number 20983. It is just not good enough. It looks like it needs to be shorter right here. That moves this over. And then this needs to be about 3 inches shorter. This I can trim off. That I can't. We take these out first. It helps the water flow efficiently. So that.
Did you dialect that one?
It looks like on this side it's going to need to be trimmed a little, but it fits pretty good. I'm going to have to take a little off this top side. It's actually long enough that it's hitting the sway bar. This is a problem you run into more and more and more in the aftermarket world with these factory replacement parts, and they just don't fit. They're junk, and then people order them, and then they do what I do, and they just modify them so that they work right, and they never write in and tell the people, you know, hey, your junk don't fit. So they just keep sending out the same parts, and then the next guy gets a part that don't fit because dummies like me didn't say anything. Take that off right there. I think this time I will write them though, since everybody heard me say that. All right. I can live with that. I can live with that. Now, what in the world are we going to do with it? I wonder if it fits better this way. Just put a hole in the hood. Done. Can't shorten that. So just I measured that. It's exactly right there. What do you think? No? It's the wrong side. This one is the right one. to stop right there. You're not supposed to push past.
Did you push past?
You have to ask that question. You don't know me very well. It was still moving. If it's still moving, you keep pushing until it stops moving. Then you're done. So 15, 16, 17 porcupine thrusts. You're thinking ahead, babe. I think this one that's really ugly. Oh, see, look, that's why I brought the other one. See, I knew that that was going to be a different side. I was already ready already. I think this is the cleanest you will ever see me working on something. I think this is the only vehicle I own that doesn't turn your good clothes into bad clothes when you work on it. We know all about that. Oh yeah. Alright. Radiator hoses. Oh, look at that. Let's see. Cold case. It's on the case. Never used one of these radiators before. So we'll see. Shiny. And I just realized now I get to pull it all back out and mount the fans because I forgot to put the fans on the radiator. That'll be another night. All right, we'll keep you posted.